We're going to talk football here. We're going to go to the guest line and talk to a Texas Sports Hall of Famer, somebody that knows the Hall of Fame very well when it comes to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. He's been covering the NFL for 50 years, and he's been covering the Texans/Oilers for basically their entire existence. He does weekly sports talk shows in several different cities. It's the great John McClain. You can find him on Twitter at McClain_on_NFL. Joins us here on BetMGM tonight. Pat Boyle, Brad Evans. John, how you doing, man?
And he's an officially a documentarian. We had a premiere of a documentary we did here. We worked on for 16 months about high school football in Texas before integration, with all the Hall of Famers who are at Shrine and Canton, who played in the all-black Preview Interscholastic League, and it was a labor of love, but I know that's not why you guys call me.
Oh, that's great.
No, I mean, it wasn't our first, it wasn't our first topic that we had for you, but we could definitely get into it. We could definitely get into it in a little bit here, John. No, what I want to get to you first is the big news yesterday, and that's current Seahawks offense coordinator Klint Kubiak, who is now 6 days away from calling plays in the Super Bowl, is reportedly finalizing an agreement to become the Raiders head coach after the big game. The Raiders have been a mess for years, but now they have the number 1 draft pick, and it'll almost certainly be Fernando Mendoza. Tom Brady making more decisions in ownership, $90 million in cap space, and weapons like Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. Do you think the Raiders are making the right choice? And maybe, John, more importantly, do you think Klint Kubiak's making the right choice?
Well, first let me say I've known Gary Kubiak since he was a ball boy at the Houston Oilers training camps during the Love You Blue era with Bob Phillips, Earl Campbell, and Pastorini. I've covered him as a head coach here. I've known him for a long time, talked to him today, and he's one of my all-time favorite people. So I'm happy because Klint, if the Seahawks win, Klint and Gary will be the first father-son duos to win Super Bowl rings. And unless Mike Vrabel can help the Patriots pull off the upset, I think that's a terrific distinction for the Kubiak family. Gary won Super Bowl 50 as a coach. You know, he won him as an assistant coach. He won in San Francisco as quarterback coach, and Denver, of course, as an offensive coordinator. And he gave each of his 3 sons a Super Bowl ring, kept the 4th for himself, and now maybe Klint will give his back or give his next one to his daddy in return. So I think Klint, he wants to be a head coach. He's been in school to be a coach since he was a kid. The middle brother, Clay, offensive coordinator for the 49ers. Youngest one, Klein, the personnel department with the Cowboys. Could be a GM someday. So that is a football coaching family. And I think he's going to do terrifically. And one of the keys there, John Spytek, general manager of the Raiders, he was on Kubiak's staff when they won Super Bowl 50. Then he was on Brady's team when they won the Super Bowl in Tampa. So the Kubiak family knows him. Brady knows him. And I think with the cap money just mentioned, $90 million, it's going to go up $25 million. Players are going to benefit big time, as they should. I believe that he'll go in there. He's got some offensive players. They need to use free agency in the draft to fortify the offense around Fernando Mendoza, the way the Bears did around Caleb Williams. And then you can get around to the defense later, maybe in the draft. But I'm fired up for the Raiders, fired up for Klint Kubiak. I hope he does great. I believe he will, but I'm partial to him.
John, let's go another major coaching hire that just came out of the woodwork, and that's Mike LaFleur, the new head honcho in the desert. Arizona has many unknowns, as Pat and I talked about earlier in the show, especially a quarterback with Kyler Murray likely on a one-way ticket out of town. From the Sean McVay coaching tree, LaFleur has an uphill battle to make the Cardinals immediately respectable, in our opinion. What are your thoughts on the hire, and who's going to be the quarterback starter in Arizona next year? And I guess more importantly, are they going to escape the basement?
Klint Kubiak would never say this, of course, but if you're looking at those two organizations and they both wanted him, one knows who their next quarterback's going to be, and he's got all the markings to be a really good one on and off the field after what he did, not just at Indiana, but also what he did at Cal. So that's a great situation to walk into, I believe. Mark Davis pays a lot of money. He's paying $50 million for coaches he's gotten rid of, but I think they have some stability with good people there. Arizona, you look at Arizona, no quarterback. It's not a good quarterback draft after Mendoza. They might as well go ahead and be really bad, try to cash in next year, which should be a great draft for quarterbacks, beginning with Arch Manning, who everybody predicts will go first overall. And the Cardinals right now have a little more talent, especially wide receiver, than the Raiders do. But you don't have anybody to throw them the ball. So I think it's going to be a long time before they get out of the cellar, and they're going to need to have a great off season with Mike LaFleur working with Monty Austinfort, the general manager, to see if they can put it together. But boy, I was wondering if LaFleur might go in and say, I'd like to keep Kyler Murray and see what I can do with it, considering he's an offensive coach.
Yeah, there are a lot of question marks there. Just stock up on tequila, Arizona fans. It's probably going to be a long year next season. John, heading to Santa Clara for the Super Bowl. Give our listeners 2 to 3 keys in your estimation that will ultimately determine who wins this bad boy. And really, more importantly, who covers as well. Right now, Seattle is favored by 4.5 points with a game total at 45.5 on BetMGM. Do you feel this is going to be a tight one?
I picked the Seattle to win this game 24-20. I think Drake May has struggled in the playoffs big time. He's got the injury, and their defense has been playing great. Seattle's defense played great against everybody but the Rams. Matthew Stafford can make a lot of defenses look bad. I think it will be close. The key is Seattle's defense has got to play better. New England's offense has to play better. And Sam Darnold has to keep it up. Everybody loves an underdog story. Everybody except the New England, I think, is pulling for Sam Darnold, what he's been through. It's weird. He's 28. He's been with 5 teams in 8 years, and now he's living the life. And I think nobody other than Patriot fans would get him winning this and bouncing back from what happened to him in the last regular season game and the playoff game for Minnesota. So I think, as long as Sam doesn't turn it over, and he was a turnover machine in a lot of those games, they've got great balance. Mike McDaniel's a great young coach. And Mike Vrabel's also a great coach. I'm glad the Chiefs aren't in it. I used to get so tired of the Patriots being in them with Brady and Belichick when my boss would always say, every year, do a Brady story, do a Belichick story. And I'm like, please, God, anything but those two again. But now it's all new blood in New England, and I'm fired up for Vrabel. I like him. I covered him 4 years here before he went to the Titans. And I think it's going to be a terrific Super Bowl at Levi Stadium.
Our guest is a Texas Sports Hall of Famer. He was inducted 3.5 years ago. He is also a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter, and he's covered the NFL for 50 years now. That is the great John McClain with us here on BetMGM tonight. Brad Evans, Pat Boyle, Westwood One Sports. John, looking at the NFL head coach hiring cycle as a whole, 10 coaches were hired. 0 were black or minority head coaches. Roger Goodell just spoke at his press conference to kick off Super Bowl week just over an hour ago. I'm going to paraphrase 3 quick answers of his when asked about the Rooney Rule and minority head coaches. He said he stresses that he thinks teams view the Rooney Rule as a positive instead of a hurdle towards making a hire. He also said that the league has to consider the volatility in coaching as part of the minority coach issues, along with the continued changes in hiring practices. And he also did say, though, that when it comes to the lack of black coaches hires this cycle, he believes there's more work to do and more progress to be made to improve diversity. What did you make of Roger Goodell's comments, the ones I just basically paraphrased? And what did you make of this head coach hiring cycle, 0 minority or black head coaches hired? And we look at the Rooney Rule, how it was applied this offseason. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm on my fourth consecutive black head coach here with the Texans. Romeo Cornell was an interim coach, then David Culley, then Lovie Smith, and now D'Amico Ryans. And I'm sure Roger Goodell would love to have more black coaches. Robert Saleh is a minority, but he's not black. And you can't make owners hire anybody. You can't make them hire black, white, Hispanics, Asian. They're going to do what they want to do. And the league can howl about it all they want, but you can't make the owners do it. They give them draft choices. They have this thing set up where if you lose a coordinator to a head coaching job and he's a minority, you get a draft choice. So they have these incentive programs to help, and it helped for a while, but I think it's a bad look considering most of the league is black. But it's not surprising because you just can't make them do it. But the idea behind the Rooney Rule is, say you interview a black candidate and you're very impressed with it, but you hire somebody else. And you might tell your buddy next year, be sure and check out this guy because I was impressed with him. And that's the same way it's done with white coaches. It's just a product of our society, and I don't see it changing. Warren Moon told me in 1988 when I did a story on him, he said, until you get black owners, you're not going to get a lot of black head coaches.
Wow. Yeah, definitely something that has resonated with the times of the great Warren Moon. John, going back to the Super Bowl, give us a player on each side of the ball who could rise to the occasion and prove an unsung hero.
I kind of think Seattle's going to try to run the ball a lot, and because New England will have them covered. And I like Walker. I think Walker does a terrific job. Now, the Charbonnet's out. He gets the ball all the time. Yeah. And Marcus Jones from University of Houston, who's 5'8" in his cleats, he was a great player here. Great corner, great return guy, and he's doing the same thing for the Patriots. He's a big play waiting to happen. He makes up for the lack of size with his quickness, his speed, his smarts. He's been making great plays in the playoffs, starting when he had a pick six of C.J. Stroud. So I look for Marcus Jones to be the guy on the Patriots defense, and I look for Walker. If they're going to run the ball, it's going to have to be through him.
Talking with the great John McClain, Texas Sports Hall of Famer. He's been covering the NFL for 50 years, for about another 2 minutes here on BetMGM tonight, Westwood One Sports. John, let me ask you an uncomfortable one here to finish. We are a week removed from the controversy. What'd you say?
Yeah, I said it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. We are a week removed. Well, I know your thoughts on it. So yes, it's not uncomfortable for you maybe, but we're a week removed from the controversy of Bill Belichick not being voted in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. You are a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter. You have publicly stated that you did vote for Belichick. But what do you make of this mess in the week now since it has unfolded? And what changes would you like to see made to the Hall of Fame voting process?
Hall of Fame's very, very near and dear to my heart. I was inducted in 2006 in the Hall of Fame. I've been on the committee 33 years. I was on the seniors committee for 17, and I've been on the contributors committee the last 2 years. And I've been to Canton probably 50 times. It is an enormous, rewarding responsibility that comes with controversy. And our bylaws say, and they instruct us on this, when you vote for the very best people. Now, if you say they changed the rules on us 2 years ago. Used to, we had two seniors, one coach, one contributor, and we voted yes or no. Almost always we voted yes. Then they changed it to make it more difficult. We had three seniors, one contributor, one coach, and we could vote for three of them. And it had to get 80% of the vote. None of them did. One person that got the most votes got in, and that's how last year Sterling Sharp was the only one of the five that got in. The bottom line is Belichick was the best candidate. He should be the first one in. When we had our 9-hour Zoom, it never occurred to me that he wouldn't get in. We had like an hour meeting out of the 9 hours, and I'm thinking, get on with it. He's a lock. So when ESPN broke the story, I was shocked. We don't know who's in. We'll find out Thursday night. It leaked from Belichick's camp because the way that it's done, the Hall calls the people that made it. They call the people that don't make it. They don't tell each of them anything else. So it had to have been leaked from Belichick's camp. And looking back, the controversy of last week, I did 19 talk shows in 2 days trying to explain this. I'm glad it came out because on Thursday night, if we found out for the first time Belichick wasn't in, that's a disservice to the class of 2026. It'll still be a topic, but it won't be the firestorm it was last week, and the class of 2026 can celebrate. I hope Robert Kraft finally gets in. I'm assuming we'll put Belichick in next year, and I hope 2 seniors out of the 3 get in with Robert Kraft, and I can't wait to see what happens.
It's a good answer. It's a good answer, John. You're a good man, and we appreciate your time and always hopping on with us. Enjoy the rest of this week. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And we're looking forward to year 51 of you covering the NFL. Can't wait to chat with you soon, man.
Guys, thank you very much for having me, as always.
Thanks, John.
There you go, the great John McClain. He did vote for Bill Belichick to get in on the first ballot Hall of Fame. And he is a Hall of Famer himself, Texas Sports Hall of Famer. And he's been covering the NFL for 5 decades. None like John McClain.